Hello, welcome to Field Target Tech, and I'm Tom Holland, episode number 1. Today we're going to be talking about washing and lubing pellets and the reasons why. We're going to get right into it. I don't want to waste time with you guys. Reasons why we wash pellets is when pellets are produced, they have a kind of a release agent on the pellet. Some people think that it's a lube that's supplied with the pellets. It is not. In fact, I don't even know what kind of a compound or oil or grease that substance actually is. So being that I don't really know what that is, I want to get that all off of my pellets. It is a release agent that they use to release the pellet from the die when it gets swaged. Basically, they're squishing lead into a small die or several dies in order to accomplish the shape that they're trying to get with that particular pellet. And they need a release agent, kind of like an oil or a grease, in order to release it from that mold. And we want to get all of that off. The reasons why we want to get that off is that oil and that releasing agent will hold small pieces of lead, shavings and stuff like that from the manufacturing process. And if that is shot through your barrel, you could leave those deposits behind, and then a pellet coming in afterwards could get nicked and dented, and the wind could catch that and blow it off. So you want to have the most accurate pellets that you could possibly get. Also, I've had some spring guns, some higher powered spring guns in the past that have actually dieseled with some of those release agents still on the pellets. So being that we don't really know what that stuff is, we want to get it off. I'm also going to get into lubing pellets. The reason why we lube pellets is to make them a little bit more accurate sometimes. Sometimes the guns will shoot a little bit more accurately with a lubed pellet. Not necessarily all the time. Some guns will shoot them the same, some will shoot them worse. It's a trial and error thing, and each gun that everyone has is going to be different. So you're going to have to trial and error. But some of the reasons that we do that is it prevents fouling in the barrel. A lot of barrels that use lube pellets, you don't have to clean them as often, and they stay relatively clean. Like I said, it's a hit or miss thing. You have to know your own gun and your own barrel. Some of the lubes that I use is Finish Line, which is a bike wax lubricant, and it's a liquid, if you can hear that. And once it dries into from liquid form, it actually is a wax. The other compound that is my go-to is Lemon Pledge, and how that's applied I'm going to show you in a few minutes. It's a special way to do it so you don't mess up the weights of your pellets. Some other guys like to use Slick 51, and there's a couple other compounds out there that I'm really not too familiar with. You could probably Google that on one of the forums and find out what guys are using. You just have to make sure that they're not petroleum based, that they will diesel and actually ignite when the shot goes off. We're going to get into washing the pellets first, and we're going to do so with some very hot water, and that's what this number up here is, so you guys aren't afraid. You could use boiling hot water, 212 degrees. Lead doesn't melt until 621 degrees. Now with the bismuth and antimony and tin that's added into the pellets, it's actually going to be a higher melting point than that. So there's no danger of boiling hot water damaging or softening up your pellets. So right now we're going to go into the sink and we're going to do some pellets. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the water on, and we're going to get the hottest water I can stand. As I said, do not be afraid to get the hottest water that you can get. And what we're going to do is we're going to take good old Dawn dish detergent, put a healthy amount in. It's cheap enough, so use a lot of it. Put that aside, and we'll get some hot water in there. And I use this basting brush with very soft bristles to swirl the pellets around, get this mixture mixed up properly. So we do that, put that aside. Take our tin of Air Arms 8.4 Diablo pellets, pour them into that. We'll cap that, put this aside, and swish them around a little bit. Swish them around. And you can let them sit there for a few minutes and do your thing. Swirl them around. And as you do this, you'll see the water get darker and everything like that. I'm going to speed this process up, but you guys get the general idea. You're not going to damage them with a soft bristle brush like that. Just swirl them around and get most of the, and you can see the water's getting a little, you can see past the bubbles, it's getting a little dirty. So we do that for a little bit, you get the idea, and you get some cold water and use a strainer. And all these utensils that you use, do not use them for food again. It's for pellets only. So keep that in mind. So we want to swirl them around a little bit, get all the bubbles out, get all the soap off of the pellets, and that's basically all there is to washing them. Just do that, screw them around a little bit. And again, you do not want to use these for food ever again. They're for pellets only and specifically. So, and if you look at the bottom, we're just going to put this off to the side. And if you look at the bottom, you can see some shiny stuff in there. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see some slivers of lead at the bottom of that, which is why I used a white bin, so you can see a couple crunchies floating around in there. Those are what you're trying to get rid of. So we're just going to put this aside for the moment, and we'll leave it at that. We'll let them dry off, and now we're going to go into lubing pellets and what's involved in it. It's not difficult. To use Kry Tech, what I do is I get a larger 25 caliber exact Diablo tin, and let me go get my lubes. Come back with these because I forgot them. Sorry about that. Shake it up good and squeeze a little on the bottom. You can be a little generous with it. Put the cap on so we don't spill it. These pellets have already been washed and they are not lubed. So we're going to take a few of these. I'm going to just dump a few in there like that. And we're going to cover this up. And we're just going to, nice and easy, tumble them around nice and slow. Don't shake them as too much to damage them. Take these apart. They're tough. Put a few more of them in. And you just do that for about 2 or 3 minutes or so until they're all coated. And And that should about do it for those. We're going to leave them there. Those will dry, and they'll have a nice thin coat of wax. You can see some of the wax on the lid, and that'll be just perfect. Now the process for Lemon Pledge is a little bit different. With Lemon Pledge, you would need a box such as this. Move the camera a little bit. Box such as this, lined with paper towels. Now you do not want to put the pellets directly in here and spray the Lemon Pledge onto them, because the Lemon Pledge foams up and it will get into the skirts of the pellets. Now when you generally lube pellets, if you're going to be doing a lot of other things to the pellets, like sizing them, weighing them, head sizing, checking, rolling them, if you're going to do all that stuff, then you want to lube them at the very last end of your process. That'll be the last step that you do. But for you guys out there that are novices, that don't have a lot of that equipment, or you just want to make the pellets a little bit more accurate, this is the way you do it. Take the Lemon Pledge, which isn't a whole lot left in here, and spray it into there. And you can see it foaming up. Not a whole lot left. That's okay. There's enough in here to do what we need to do. And what you want to do is you want to pat that down with your hand and get all the foaminess away. You want this to saturate with the Lemon Pledge. Now you could use any pledge, as I said. And you want to pat that down because you don't want any of this wax getting into the skirts, which will affect your weighing process later on down the road. So you want to get all that out, tap that all down so it doesn't foam up, and you take your remaining pellets, in they go, and you just take it like you're sifting sand, and just roll them around in there nice and easy for a few minutes, and just keep doing this. Kind of like you're sifting sand. So this would be the last process that you would do after you scrutinize all your pellets, after you weigh them and head size them and gauge them and roll them and all the other stuff. And we'll be getting into all of those on future episodes. The next episode will most likely be weighing them and what weights would be acceptable for match use or plinking use and stuff like that. So you just want to roll these around for a couple minutes, and that's basically it. They're all set and ready to go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my trusty tin here, and I'm just going to be really careful that I don't spill all of these, and introduce them back into the tin that they came from. And you can save that paper towel for a different day. And now you have a thin coat of wax all over the outside of the pellet, which is what you want. And that, guys, is all there is to washing and lubing pellets. Again, look at the different compounds that you can use. There's a whole lot more things that you can use to lube them with than what I have listed here. And basically, that's all there is to it. This has been Field Target Tech, episode 1. I'm glad you guys watched. If you didn't see the other previous video, look at that one. You can like down below. You can subscribe down below. Or you can go onto the Field Target Tech main page and subscribe and like. This video, I'll give some links and names. I'll put all this stuff in the bottom, all the things I used for this, and I'll put some other links of my email address, and I'll put my ESCAA club website down, as well as Scott Allen's podcast that he interviewed me with last year. You guys can click on that and learn a little bit more about myself and some of the other stuff that I do. This has been Field Target Tech, and I'm Tom Holland. Until next time.